Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
I was very pleased to meet someone recently who is doing something that I believe in, and a lot of people don't understand what companion care, home care really is. And I thought that Don TICHENOR, who is one of the owners of Allen Homemaker and Companion Services, would explain some of this. You know, Don, this is a little different for you. You're a very, you're a young gentleman. And when I first met you, I asked you, why did you get into this business? And I think your answer, I understood it.
Yes. Well, good morning, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate having a chance to come and talk to you.
Right.
We opened the company based on experiences that we've had with family and friends who've had experiences with family who's struggled in their later years. And we wanted to be able to help. We thought that based on our experiences with our relatives, grandmothers, mothers, that there's a need out there. There's a need out there for some compassionate care and some understanding, and we thought that we were touched by that and really wanted to try and bring that to the community.
Because it's interesting, most of these companion services or nursing services, women run them, and to have a male is very, very important because actually, and I've noticed that there are some men that would prefer a man to come in and be help with them, drive them, take them to the movies, do things with them. They don't really want a female, however that is. Maybe their wife has passed away, and they really just don't want another woman to take her place, in a sense. And so I hope you do have some men that you'll be able to...
We do have some men, yes, and we have some ladies that like to have the men come and help with some of the tasks as well.
Good point. Yes. So what are some of the tasks? So people are sitting there, and some people, of course, the typical thing is, I don't need any help. All right, I don't need any help. I can do everything, right? And the kids say, oh, no, Mom, you do, right? So tell us what you would do if you came in.
We try to take the role of the caregiver. So we help our clients with light housekeeping. We'll help them with planning out their meals and cooking. We help them with laundry. We'll take them to doctor's appointments and to the beauty salon and other social engagements.
You wait there with them.
We wait there with them. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people just want to have somebody there to talk to, and it's good to be able to do that as well.
Well, I think for me, really, having a mother, my mother passed away when she was 94, and she lived with my father, and then, of course, he passed away, and then she lived by herself, and then she went to a retirement community, an independent community, and then she broke her hip, and then she needed a little bit more care. And we wound up, actually, it just wasn't happy after that. So we wound up getting her moved very close to where we lived, and then she had someone in there taking care of her.
Right.
And that was a happy 3 years.
Right.
Because that person took her to the senior center, which is very close by, took her to the restaurant, when she wanted to do it, took her shopping just to walk around, took her to the movies. Is that what we're talking about with you?
That's exactly what we're talking about. And it was experience actually with my grandmother. My grandmother had macular degeneration, and so physically she was fine, but she couldn't see, and at that time the solution was assisted living or more advanced care, and that's kind of always bothered me that I wasn't able to do more at the time to help her reclaim or maintain that independence that she was a fiercely independent woman. So that's really kind of the driving force as to why we started this.
Yeah, well, that's very good. Let me just tell everybody the name, and so you get this. It's Allen, A-L-A-N, Homemaker and Companion Services. And I'm going to give you their phone number. Just remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. Get your pencils out. Write this number down. It's 1-844-925-2644. 1-844-925-2644, and they are in the business of making your life easier and better. And after meeting with Don, I can assure you that he does have a great heart. His name is Don TICHENOR, TICHENOR, correct?
That's right.
So what we want to do, though, Don, is to have people understand that they do get to choose the people. So let's say you meet with them, which you have to do first, and
Yes.
you can interrupt me anytime, and then I have to assume that you sit down and you get a feeling of what kind of a person would be good for them, right?
Yes, that's right. And it's important when we meet with the client that we get an understanding for what their needs are, and usually they're very vocal about not shy to tell us exactly what they're looking for and where their challenges are and what kind of people they would like to hire, and we try to match them up with the right aid.
Right, and if for some reason after the aid comes, that they don't really feel comfortable with them, you just switch it.
Absolutely.
Because there's a fear there. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Oh, sure.
That they say, oh, I don't want to say anything bad because then maybe there'll be something bad that they'll do to me.
No, not at all.
That's what they worry about. That's why some people. So it's interesting. So you take a very strong part with them. I guess it's a separate. You
Absolutely.
Probably talk to them by themselves so that the aid isn't there.
Yes, we'll meet with the client first, and then I'll bring aid to their house to meet with them and see that they get along and get some feedback, and we'll go from there.
And the other question is, companions shouldn't really, or should they, be wearing anything that makes them look like a nurse?
Well, it depends on the aid. It doesn't matter. They cannot do anything medical, but a lot of aides like to wear scrubs
Uniforms?
or cleaning uniforms in the home.
Well, this is the thing that a lot of people don't want anyone to know, that they're not just a friend.
Then that's fine also. Yeah.
Because it's very, they get a little embarrassed.
Sure.
Because they've been living in their home, and I'm sure that when you first go in, you can see that house needs to be cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
And so what will a person you send? I mean, we're not asking for a maid. I want everyone to understand what is the difference of what, if they need a maid to come in or a cleaner to come in and clean, that's one thing.
That's right.
That's not what you're offering.
We'll clean up after the person, make their bed, or, if they take a shower, we'll clean up the bathroom after them, but we're not a deep cleaning service.
Right. But you are a deep cooking service.
Deep cooking service, yes, ma'am.
It's funny that a lot of people come from a certain region and they like their food a certain way.
That's
so how does that work?
Well, obviously we have to work with a client, and they come from a certain region as well and are used to eating certain things. So obviously that's what we want to try to please them with the food they like to eat.
Because everything it's really about food. When
it
they come. If someone's a great cook, they can probably do anything as a companion. But just because you have breakfast, lunch, dinner. But let's just talk about something you mentioned when we were meeting about how much time let's say someone has never done this before. I don't mean the companion, but the person who's listening and saying, I could use a little help. How little help can they get started with?
Well, we like to, we have a minimum of 4 hours, and we'll work with the client on a case-by-case basis. But we have a minimum of 4 hours. It can be once a week. It can be 7 days a week. We can have a live-in or 24-hour care. It really just depends on the need of the client.
Yeah, when you think of it, so many people have had spouses or family members, and now they're alone.
That's right.
And if they could just have maybe even once a week, maybe twice a week, have someone for 4 hours where they would go in and they could even prepare food for the next 3 or 4 days.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of things, and you're very smart about this. I think you just organize it so their life could be so much happier. Yeah,
and it's nice to get people out, and get them walking around or go see a movie or whatever it is that they want to do, Maybe they were my mom is an avid bridge player. So, she loves to go to bridge. Well, if they want to go to bridge, we'll take them to bridge. you know.
Or you just made me think, or play cards. Just sit there and play
Absolutely.
cards with them so they don't have to play solitaire, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, the difference is, and you can clarify this if I don't do this right, but someone is alone and they're in good health. They're not a big problem.
Right.
But, but let's say they have macular degeneration or something,
Right.
and they don't drive anymore.
Right.
They really almost become a prisoner in their home, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and it's really sad. Yeah, and so that's exactly the type of person we're trying to help.
Yeah, and so how do you find people to come in to be a companion?
Well, there's a lot of people who apply for jobs, and in our screening process, we're very careful to pick people who are in it for the right reasons. It's one thing to have a job. It's another thing to really love what you're doing and really love the people that you're working with. And so we're very careful to select the people who have had a history or are really or maybe younger and working towards a nursing degree, or really have a compassionate streak in them, and they're really out to help people rather than to just have a job. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Because that's really, this is a different kind of a business in a sense.
Yes.
People are, you go into a person's home and you're going to be with them in the most intimate situations, and you're not really a nurse. You're just really a companion, homemaker.
Right.
It does require a very good match.
It does. And the person is trusting you to come into their home, and they have a lifetime full of memories in that home as well. So, and that really kind of hits home when I started this business, in meeting people and recognizing that, like my grandmother, it was somebody I had known obviously my whole life, but going in and meeting other clients and getting to know them, I mean, everybody has a story, and everybody has a family, and I want to take care of people the way that I would want my mother to be taken care of. So
yeah, that's really the key.
That's right.
And I just want to give your phone number again. Then I'm going to talk about family members, because they can be interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone, write this number down. I think you will be very happy to work with Don and with his company, Allen Homemaker and Companion Services. The phone number is 1-844-925-2644. And I know you have a website, and I don't see the website here. What is the website?
It's Allen, ALAN, homehealth.com.
ALlenHomehealth.com. That's ALAN.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see it now. Sorry, I missed it. AllenHomehealth.com. Very good. Okay, and then you do handle people in Broward and Palm Beach County.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's absolutely wonderful. All right, let's talk about family members.
Okay.
We know a lot of these kids, I'll call them kids, they're boomers, and they're worried about their parents, but they think that they can go in on a Sunday, have dinner with them, and then their family's fine.
Right.
I don't think that's always true.
Not always, no. And we've run into a lot of cases where an elder is on their own down here, and they live up north and really aren't completely aware of exactly what the situation is. And that's tragic to see.
Yeah, they come in on the weekend for, a few days.
Right.
And, of course, the parent by then has everything all organized.
Oh, yeah, they're excited to see their kids. Yes.
And they have, but then if you really look through their closets, you look through their refrigerator, and you see they just need a little help.
They need some help, yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard on the kids up north, too, because then they feel guilty. They can't keep coming down. It's so much easier, even if it's once a week, as you said. Then it could be twice a week, and you know that your loved one is really watching, being cared for, and then your caregiver, the one that you provide, could be in contact with the kids, right?
Yes. And with me, and I'll be in contact with the kids.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So then they have an assurity. Otherwise, it's not that it's
kind of a lifeline. There's somebody keeping an eye out on the situation and keeping everybody updated as to what's going on.
Right.
Yes.
I have a funny question to ask you. What if the person has a dog? Will they walk the dog
Absolutely.
for them? That's good, because It's interesting. We can laugh about it, but some people have dogs, and the biggest thing is for them to have to walk them. They can't quite do that.
Yes.
And so that would be a very nice thing for them
Sure.
to continue to have their pets.
Mm-hmm. Especially for the dog.
Yeah, especially for the dog. That's true.
Yes.
But thinking about it, so if a companion comes and they have a car and they can go do their shopping with them or
Yes.
without them,
Right.
right?
Uh-huh.
And then they can, as I said before, cook some meals so they would have them
Cook some meals.
throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make sure that carpets are cleaned and floors are
Right.
I mean,
Their laundry's up to date.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And this is so when we said that no, we're not doing deep cleaning, but we're certainly going to come in and straighten things up and do a certain amount. And I think what will wound up happening, if I'm not mistaken, they will become a true companion. Right now it's a companion service, and we know that, but they'll become friends,
Yes.
right? And have you seen this?
Absolutely. Yes, it happens quite frequently that they become attached to especially with the aides, they become attached to the people they're working with.
And was it you or someone else? I've talked to so many people. Had a young person who was going to college was a companion?
Yes. I have a young girl working for me who she's a CNA, certified nursing assistant, but she works overnight shifts. She's actually staying with a client of ours that's in a rehab facility right now, and she works overnight there a couple nights a week, and she works another job, and she's also going to school to study nursing.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And so you were fortunate to find someone like that. And you do bring up a good point, and I want to go over that too. When people go to rehab, or even if they're in the hospital, no one can possibly, no institution has enough people to be able to take care of you. And at night, it gets thinner.
Right.
Less people. So if you're in a condition that you can't really manage yourself, it doesn't hurt to have an extra person come, even if it's a few hours, 4 hours at night just before you go to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that everything's going well. If you can afford it, I really think it's a great idea.
Our client there has been overjoyed to have. She does not like to be alone at night, and just to have somebody there has been really comforting for her. So,
well, I think for anybody, when you think about it.
Certainly.
Because imagine if you've just had knee surgery or hip surgery. I was in a rehab center recently, and you could hear some people kind of crying out. It wasn't that someone was mistreating them. It's just they were in pain, and and because it's short staffed, even though it was a very good facility, people aren't there constantly.
Right.
And it would be very nice to have someone there talking with them, helping them, making them feel better. People are scared. I would
Getting
be
them
scared.
help if they need it. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, it is a scary situation when you feel helpless.
That's right.
And so let's just go further. So let's say now someone has just had a heart attack. They come home.
Okay.
And, and they don't think, they say, I'm fine now. I don't need to have a companion. Sometimes I think you're pushing yourself, especially if you're an older adult, if you're over 70, 80. It wouldn't hurt for someone to be there a little bit of the time to help you, because there are a lot of things you shouldn't be doing anymore.
And yes, absolutely, I agree with you. And it's nice to not have to worry about some of these things. Get some help to have somebody do some of the things around the house for you, or help you run errands, so that you don't have to do all the day-to-day tasks.
Right, and I know that there are a lot of senior centers around.
Yes.
And so people can't always get to them because they're not in the location close enough. But if you had an aide, you had someone, a companion, come in, they could take you to senior centers. They have all sorts of topics, speeches. They have music. They have things you could do. And also, they may be a little afraid to go themselves. They're shy. And you have a companion.
Certainly.
Because a lot of times people don't have friends down here. And this person now could be, as you said, a lifeline.
It's a lifeline to the outside world, absolutely.
And so I think you're in a very good position to not only have a good business, but to, at the end of the day, to really feel good about what you're doing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's our hope to be able to help people wherever we can. I mean, that was really the whole point of doing this. So
if you just look around, you can go to some restaurants and see people who come in with walkers, and they may have someone helping them, but they can't depend on their friends all the time. That's not fair.
Right.
They need to have some people who are really there to get them in order. And they want to go to the beauty salon. They want to go and do a lot of things. Your service could really make the difference in the way a person grows older.
And we've seen experience with people trying to get to doctor's appointments, having to take a senior bus and having to wait for a long period of time for the bus to get there, and then having to wait at getting into the doctor's office, and those are all things that we can help with.
You're absolutely right. I had forgotten about that. Going to the doctor's office, waiting. I know someone who actually had a companion, and it was an event now because after the doctor, they went and had lunch,
Exactly.
and then they went and did a little shopping, and then they actually went to the movies. and this person is very happy that she wanted to have it more than once a week. She just couldn't afford it at that time, but she looked forward to that day, boy, when they came. And so I think if someone could afford to have a companion every day, great, do it. If not, just do it the one time and get yourself, where you have someone that you can talk to, because they all have so much, as you said.
Absolutely.
They want to talk.
Yes, they do.
Who's going to listen to them?
That's right.
So now you pay someone to listen to you, but it's a two-way discourse, because the person, as you said, I actually knew some people that would only hire seniors as companions.
Oh yeah.
Because they felt that the seniors had a lot to talk to about with the other seniors. So when you're looking at people, it's something to think about too, because they understand. Like you could hear if I said Lawrence Welk to a young person, they'd have no idea what I was talking about, right?
That's right.
So it is a whole different way to care for people.
It really is.
It's they have a lot. And another thing is pictures. I hope that when they have their all these photographs of years before, that could take hours just sitting there and going through them. And as you said, they have so much to say.
They really do. One of my aides had a client she was working with who was a Holocaust survivor, and just the lessons that she got out of just being able to talk with this lady. I mean, aides get a lot out of it also. That's you. Everybody has a story, but to interact with people like that, she says, I learned more in the months that I was with this lady than I did in all my history classes. And it was really heartfelt. It was something you could touch. So, it's that personal touch. We get to know people. We become part of their lives. They become part of our lives.
Talking about the Holocaust, it's sometimes it's very hard for those people to even talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they feel close, and yet they should talk about it, they got to get it out, because it's almost like the trauma that we hear about other things. And so if you become very close to someone, that's another good point that you bring out, that there are subjects you aren't going to talk to your children about, and yet you could talk to a companion about it.
Right.
And I just am very happy that you're doing this. You're the kind of person that I think when you go to talk to a new client. So let's say you get a phone call, after you get a phone call and they say, I need some help.
Right.
And you go out, right? You don't
Yes,
send anyone
I
else.
go out.
And so that's really nice. You go out and you listen. You bring your yellow pad.
My yellow pad, my pen, right?
And you find out.
And we take a lot of notes.
Yeah, and you do.
Whether we're moving or we're setting up arrangements for a homemaker and companion. It's important to take notes.
That's something you just bring up, too. There's so many things as you start talking and thinking about it. Somebody could really, your homemaker companion can help them in their move. Let's say they are moving from one place to another.
Mm-hmm.
They would be there to help them sort out their things, help them with the packing up the boxes or anything they have to do.
Sure.
So I think that it sounds like a great service. You could invent a lot of things from this.
Yes.
It's kind of the golden rule, and of what would you want to do, if this were your situation?
Right, exactly.
I mean, Dr. Mencia talks a lot about people with diabetes, with heart conditions, and and it's scary. Let's just say you're alone and you have these things. You're scared.
Certainly. And it's nice to be able to have somebody that you can depend on, who will be there, who can help you walk through some of the experiences you're going through and make it easier for you. And that's really the whole point.
Right. And even going, as you said, about going to the doctor, that person could be hearing things that you might not hear and be able to then communicate with your family member.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's funny when you've had a spouse, or you've had, some people brothers live together, sisters live together as they age, and they depend on one another. But then when that other person isn't there, you really are alone.
You've lost a lifeline, yes.
You have. Well, let me just give your phone number one more time. It's 1-844-925-2644. And the website is Alan, A-L-A-N, homehealth.com. And this is a homemaker and companion service. We thank you very much for being on our show, Don.
Oh, thanks for having me in. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Sure. Well, hopefully a lot of people will call, and at some point you will have a great business of helping people. That's what we're looking to do to help you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having me in.